23 years ago, a group of non-union and union construction firms came together and formed the Coalition for Fair Employment in Construction, a statewide organization in California that fights for your right to work, regardless of your union affiliation. Apprentices, journeymen, contractors. We work every day to keep everything open for you to work on. To protect the rights of workers and contractors and apprentices, there are many tactics that CFEC employs. Among the myriad of unique things that only CFEC does is track all project labor agreements across the state. A state with 40 million people that's the size of most countries. That means hundreds of agenda items every week that are tracked looking for project labor agreement, skilled and trained workforce, or CEC extortion. We track private development, where unions use the environmental process and the EIR process to hold up projects. We spot them, identify them, and go in and fight them and work with developers to get their projects built.
Under a PLA agreement, I would only be able to use 3 of my core workers. All those workers that I'd have to pull from the union hall would have no idea of their skill set, of their abilities, their capabilities. It would be just like the Lakers going into a championship game with only 3 of their key players, having to pull the rest of the players from whoever knows where. How could you expect them to succeed with only 3 of their key players? Impossible. That's what I'm asked to do if the PLA agreement goes forward.
We track every type of project labor agreement that you can imagine across every spectrum in California. CFEC is the only entity in the state that has compiled a project labor agreement black book that lists every project labor agreement going back to 1993 that has been attempted in the state of California. That's almost 500 project labor agreements, of which about half have never seen the light of day, many in part thanks to our efforts. This PLA Black Book is available to anyone who wishes to see it so they can better understand where the threats are coming from, when they're occurring, how they're occurring, and what entities need to be fought back against. One of the things we're most proud about at CFEC is the public relations team that we have. The media efforts that we've been able to put forward, the world-class videos that you've been able to watch, videos that have shown the plight of workers, contractors, and apprentices from across the state. That takes resources, that takes funding, and that's why we need your help.
The Chula Vista Bayfront, with billions of dollars of work over several years, has implemented a PLA that means I'm not bidding on it. My employees, unless they leave me, will not be able to work there. This is something that was allowed to happen by elected officials. I mean, they really went aggressive because the people at Chula Vista, we voted no PLAs, and yet here we are. This great project that would guarantee years of work for me, again, literally across the street. My employees could almost walk to work, and we're not gonna be any part of it.
It was real work to get them to be able to get here and be journeymen. One of the requirements is 5,000 hours of on-the-job training. That on-the-job training does come from state-funded jobs. By creating project labor agreements, AKA PLAs or benefit hire agreements, they come in so many names, but they're all the same thing. By excluding a whole group of people out, and I don't just mean class or race, I mean a group of workers. These are skilled and trained workers. They're registered with the state. How can the state block state workers? It's kind of crazy.
Help us continue to provide these world-class public relations efforts so that we can get the stories of contractors, apprentices, and workers out to elected officials, taxpayers, and others. CFEC is the only entity in California that tracks private project California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, extortion, in which unions go in using law firms holding up private projects until the owners agree to a project labor agreement. We list all of these on our website, phonyuniontreehuggers.com. At the very least, we expose what is going on with this union extortion of private projects using the environmental process that we call greenmail. Already this morning, we've had 2 project labor agreement fights that we've had to participate in. Tomorrow, there's going to be 3 more. It's never ending. That's why we need your help to help us help you. Raise the funds that we need to be able to protect your right to work. We're trying to raise $50,000 by the end of the year in order to protect your right to have the opportunity to bid and work on projects that currently are threatened by project labor agreements. Challenging you to step up, those of you that are listening to this and watching this, and help us help you protect your right to work. Thank you for your consideration. Have a wonderful Christmas and 2024.